All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the More Than Love podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran, and I got my co-host, Jay Babo, with me. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, what's going on, Terry? Looking forward to another great show tonight.
Yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about standards, preferences, and double standards. These are three things that a lot of people get mixed up and confused when it comes to dating. So I just wanted to provide some clarity on those different topics. But before we get into the topic of the night, we like to start off the podcast with a segment that we call Terry's Top 3, where we basically highlight three of the most popular or most controversial posts from my Instagram page at Terry Duran. Now, this week we're going to be starting off with the video that it was I must admit it was really tough to watch. But this is a video of a guy where his girlfriend played a prank on him, and his response was not really expected. Let's take a listen. Let's take a look.
Bro, don't touch me, bro.
So what is it?
Bro, you tell me.
You mad?
You don't read me?
Okay.
Stop playing me then, bro. Fuck. I'm finna go, bro.
Now, I really feel sorry for any woman that's in an abusive relationship. But this situation, there was a follow-up video to this. This video obviously went viral where the girl played a prank on her boyfriend where she told him that she was leaving him, and his response was to attack her. And not just a one or two hit attack. This is a attack. Looked like he threw 20 or 30 punches the way from what I saw. And so there was a follow-up video where the girl's father put her hands on the guy and taught him a lesson about abusing his daughter. But the crazy part is this couple has lots of posts where they kind of put their abusive relationship on display. There are posts where the dude has a gun to the girl's head and all type of crazy stuff, and it highlights the wrong kind of love for people to be seeing these days. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, that video was, like you said, it was just rather cringeworthy to watch. But and posting that on posting that relationship online. I mean, I guess this is many other abusive relationships that happen that we don't know about.
Right. I mean, a lot of people that are women that get in abusive relationships stay in it because of the love and etc. But I just can't imagine having to live in a situation where you can't fight back. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Where you can't defend yourself, and this is the person that you're supposed to love. Now, obviously, this couple, they look like teenagers or early 20s, so I don't think they live together or anything like that. But for women that are married or have kids and have financial ties where they just can't up and leave, like it's really hard to fathom with what women in abusive relationships deal with. You know what I mean? Like, that's me being a father of a daughter. That's one of the reasons I put my daughter in Taekwondo, so she'd be able to defend herself in that type of situation. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I mean, I just don't think any abusive relationship is worth being, no matter how much you love or think you love, for that matter. I don't think the abuse is worth it. Like, if any man puts his hands on you, you should just leave.
Yeah, I mean, it's always easier to just say just leave.
In most situations, I just don't see a situation where you stay.
Yeah, I mean, well, from some of the statistics that I've read, I think it said that a woman attempts to leave a man or leaves and comes back on average 7 times before she's actually able to finally leave an abusive relationship. And that's if she's able to leave an abusive relationship, because that's often the step that escalates violence to murder.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
I mean, cause, you know, he puts you once, twice, you leave and come back. I just don't see anywhere where it gets any better.
Well, it doesn't necessarily get better, but the people that are abusive have things that they put in place to kind of to back their victim into a corner, where they cut off their support system, they cut off their communication with their friends and their family. They put a divide into all their other relationships, so that they really don't have anybody to turn to for help in a lot of cases. You know, sometimes they'll move to another state, make them quit their job, monitor where they go, and GPS and all these type of things, where they really have control mechanisms on them, where they don't feel that they can go to anybody without them finding out. They feel like the penalties or what will happen to their children or that type of scenario outweighs their own personal pain or suffering that they have to deal with in a lot of cases. So
they figure if they'll just deal with, they'll just put up with it.
Well, a lot of the women try to love their way out of it. You know, they convince themselves.
And I think that, you know, after they say it'll work, because you should get out. Like I said, a lot of times, you know, there are domestic violence situations where that ends up leading to a murder.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's no way to predict how a dysfunctional relationship or an abusive situation is going to go. You know, the victim can end up getting a knife, and the abuser can get murdered. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a very chaotic situation that can really be explosive, and there's no way to predict who's going to get hurt or what the outcome will be. So it's best to try to...
You know, it's just a toxic situation all around.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to identify an abusive relationship and some of the tactics that abusers use early on in the dating phase or early on in a relationship, so that you can identify them and react accordingly. If you wait until somebody cuts off your support system, it's too late.
You actually did it some months ago, you know, touching on these things.
Right. All right, let's move on to our next topic. Now, this next post was a post that I put up where it said 3 things men wish women would understand. And I put this up because there are a lot of misconceptions about what men want from women and what men are trying to get women to understand, obviously. All right, so number 1, it said, we aren't saying your feelings aren't valid. We want y'all to understand that they aren't facts, and y'all can be inaccurate or only show a partial view of a situation. You know, a lot of the times when I'm on my page trying to get women to understand that feelings aren't facts, I'm not trying to discredit your feelings altogether. I'm just trying to let you know that there are other options that may come into play when it comes to your feelings or what happened in a scenario involving a man. And you won't usually get that other perspective unless you give him the opportunity to express himself without interruption. Number 2, we don't judge you for having feelings. We criticize the way that you react to them because those reactions are often unwarranted, illogical, or unfair and are intended to hurt or penalize men. That's why men try to get y'all to control your feelings and how you react to them. You know, it's perfectly normal for you to have feelings, for you to be happy, for you to be sad, for you to have different reactions to different things. But when your reactions to something that are based off your feelings or your own interpretation of something result in revenge or penalties or punishments, etc., then it's not fair for you to just react simply off of your feelings. You have to be able to give your partner or your man the opportunity to defend himself or provide an explanation for his thoughts or behavior. And the third thing that I had on the list, it said, a lot of things that y'all believe about men are false and inaccurate. And that's why y'all's dating strategies are extremely ineffective. The things that women think men want, and the approach that they think men take to dating and sex and finding a wife are usually very inaccurate. You know, they're based off assumptions women come up with about men. They're usually things that are centered around how women think things should be or how they think men should operate, and they don't really represent what happens in the real world. And so the way that women approach dating and try to get their relationships is usually in a way that's counterproductive to actually obtaining their goals. And that's why we're always finding ourselves talking about flawed dating strategies, or strategies that prevent a woman from reaching the goals that she obviously have for dating. Let's see. Now, the next post that I wanted to talk about was a video from a guy by the name of Prince Donald. And he's talking about a married man having female friends. Let's take a listen.
So a dude hit me up on the gram the other day and he said, Prince Donnell, can I have a wife but still be friends with other women? And the answer to that question is hell no. And this may sound arrogant when I say this, but I'm too good of a dude to be friends with single women because I have so much to offer and I'm so friendly that might turn that single woman on. And next thing you know, I'm dealing with temptation and I don't need that in my life. You feel what I'm saying? And I want to let all my fellas know this. If a woman found you worthy enough to be a husband, that means other single women will find you worthy too. But here's the thing. You don't know their intentions. And next thing you know, you was too friendly to that chick. And now you end up homeless because you laid up in that hotel with that chick. Your wife found out and you lost your entire family. Don't do it to yourself. Listen, if I got any women as friends, they acquaintances. They friends with me and my wife. You feel me? So that nothing could ever get in between because I don't play around with temptation. And you too good of a dude to be playing around with temptation too.
All right, now, I disagree with this post altogether.
I do as well. It's just like I think there's a few holes in this one.
I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong with a man having a female friendship. Obviously, any situation or any relationship can potentially cheat. It don't have to be with a woman for a man to cheat. You know what I mean? Like, so the idea that you can cheat-proof your relationship by just completely eliminating friends of the opposite sex, that's extreme to me, and that's not realistic.
But the thing he kept highlighting is single woman. He could say, well, I don't want to be friends, I'm too good to have be friends with single women. But who to say that can't happen with a married woman or a woman that's in a committed serious relationship?
I was gonna get to that point as well. He mentioned a lot of things that to a woman it sounds like a life hack or some type of gimmick. It doesn't matter if he also said any woman that I'm friends with is also friends with my wife. That don't stop cheating. I know of people that a woman's best friend that's fucking her best friend's husband and stuff like that. So none of these situations or things that he brought up prevent cheating. And I also wanted to touch on, he said that I'm too good of a dude for temptation, and he was saying stuff like that. Everybody faces temptation. It doesn't matter whether you're a good dude or a bad dude. What determines whether you're a good dude or a bad dude is how you handle it. So if your husband is so weak that he can't resist a female friend that finds interest in him or may have had a crush on him or something, then he's not this quality dude that he was making him out to be. You know what I mean? Because self-control, when it comes to men, that is the determining factor on whether a man messes with a woman or not. Last time I checked, men were typically the aggressors when it comes to sex and romance. So I've never seen a situation where a man ends up having sex with a woman where he didn't want it to happen, where he didn't actively pursue the romance or the sex. You know what I mean? Like, so the whole concept is just pandering to women because those are the type of things that insecure women already think. They already think men can't resist pussy. They already think men are incapable of turning down sex or curving women. So when you have somebody like him coming on pandering and saying that he would never be friends with the woman and wouldn't let a woman touch him and all that, that is pandering and playing it into what women want to hear.
Begin with, and told David, like I said, I'm not even going to talk or look another woman's way, which is not realistic at all.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with noticing beauty or noticing other women. It is how you react to those desires, to that attraction. If you are not pursuing other women, you ain't trying to get their number, you ain't sliding in their DMs, you can look at beautiful women every day of your life and it not impact your relationship. It is what you do beyond that, beyond seeing the attractive person on your timeline, beyond seeing the cute person walk past in the club. If you don't do anything to disrespect your relationship, you don't have a problem on your hands. And that's how secure people look at things. Insecure people perceive things that they don't trust their partner will do the right thing. They don't think they're capable of ignoring cheating or finding themselves in a situation where they can cheat and choosing not to. And that's you. Go ahead.
I would say the bottom line is, like you say, as we said on many other occasions, many other different shows, is there's absolutely no way to cheat-proof a relationship. If somebody wants to cheat, somebody's going to cheat. Somebody's going to find a way to cheat you.
Yeah, I mean,
regardless of what you do.
A lot of people invest their time and energy into trying to cheat-proof a relationship, though. They try to, any possible scenario they think of that can lead to cheating, they try to avoid it or come up with some rule to forbid it, which is impossible. Like I said, it's impossible to do. Somebody that's cheating is going to be lying and deceiving you already. So they're not going to be telling you every conversation they have. They're not going to be telling you everything that they do. Duh. So to come up with rules to prevent cheating, that's already part of a committed relationship. You've already agreed to be exclusive or committed to one person. So coming up with additional rules to reinforce that just seems like a waste of time to me.
You're putting too much time and energy. I mean, I'll say this: if you have to do all this to cheat-proof your relationship, I just say you better not be in a relationship with that person.
That's like I said, it's a lot easier for people to leave situations like that. Logically, it makes more sense to just leave, but people have to build up to that phase, especially people that are in love or that don't want to get divorced and don't want to deal with the shame or the embarrassment that come with a failed relationship or a failed marriage. Sometimes it's hard to make that next step and do what's best for you. But if you think long term and you can find a way to either limit your emotional input on the situation and try to use your brain, perhaps write down the pros and cons of the relationship on paper, something like that, where you can actually have a tangible list to compare and make a decision on what's best for you and your kids going forward if you have them. All right, so let's switch gears, man. Let's get into our topic of the night. Tonight we are going to be talking about standards, preferences, and deal breakers. These are all three things that come up regularly when we're talking about dating and relationships. And so I wanted to start the topic off by just addressing I wanted to give the definitions of each thing so that we can have some clarity, because a lot of the terms that come up when it comes to dating are interchangeable, or their definitions overlap to the point that people can use them interchangeably and still be able to get their point across. But a lot of times they use the words with the improper context. They don't use them in the context that it's intended when you're talking about dating or relationships. All right, so when we're talking about a standard, we're talking about a certain level of quality and the bare minimum of something that you expect out of somebody that you want to be with. Whether that is their level of education, whether it's their attitude and their behavior, their values or their character. You have a certain level that you expect, and anybody that doesn't meet that minimum standard, you won't consider dating seriously. Now, one thing that I do notice creates some confusion among women when we're talking about standards and things of that nature is men have a different set of standards for a woman that they will fuck or have sex with, and a woman that they will consider girlfriend material or somebody that they will get in a relationship with. And a lot of women seem to think that a man that is willing to have sex with a woman sees her as somebody that he would want to be with. And that is totally false. You know, men have proven over and over again that they are capable of having sex with a woman strictly for the sexual pleasure of the situation. So it doesn't mean that he has to view her in any other way except sexually attractive. And even then there are exceptions, because dicks ain't that smart. A man can take one for the team or be in a situation where he's using his imagination to turn himself on more so than the woman that he's actually having the sexual encounter with.
I mean, a guy doesn't have to have any kind of feelings or emotional attachment to a woman to have sex with, nor does he even have to be attracted to her physically.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just her shape or just her booty.
You know, it could be taking one for the team. It could be imagining it's somebody else.
Very true. You know, sex is mostly a mental exercise. So the things that stimulate you and the things the thoughts that turn you on, that's the difference between somebody that has an orgasm and somebody that has a mental block that prevents them from enjoying sex. Your mental state of mind when you are getting physical pleasure plays a major role in the outcome or your level of satisfaction you're going to get. So the next term that I wanted to talk about is a preference. You know, a preference means you like something better than others. It doesn't mean that you only like one thing or you only have one specific type of feature that you like. You know, that's another myth that I see a lot of women come up with. I see women say things like, what if your man is looking at models that look way different than you? What does that mean? And I'm like, it don't mean nothing except he find them attractive too. A man can be attracted to skinny women and be attracted to BBWs. A man can be attracted to light-skinned women and still be attracted to dark-skinned women. A man can like a woman with long hair and like a woman with short hair. Like, men like variety. So to think that there's just one specific type of preference that men like in women is not accurate. And it's the same way for women. Most people have a range of preferences. You know, I like women a certain height, between 5'3" and 5'9". You know, something to that effect, where you account for differences. Because the way dating actually works, when you like someone, you're gonna like certain things about that particular person more than others, right? You may think her face is cuter than some of your exes, but her body may be better than some of the other people that you've been dating. So you're gonna have a variety of rank preferences about that particular person that you like and dislike. And so when a preference just means that if you could have your ideal situation, what would you choose? You know, if you could ideally, most people choose someone that's cute, got all their teeth, they grill is straight, their bodies, you know, they not bad built, their bodies not shaped extremely awkward or extremely obese. They like people that are generally kind of in the middle or about average or above average in just about everything.
I think with the whole preference, you know, because you hear people saying, "Oh, well, I only like dark skin women, or I like light skin women," and vice versa with the women, you know, for the men. I mean, you hear that sometimes. So I guess that's why, you know, some people think, "Oh, when you have a preference, just."
Well, yeah, some people think stuff like that make a difference. You know, some people treat preferences like this is what they do. They mistake preferences for values. You know what I mean? Like they make their dating decisions based off their preferences instead of judging a person's character and who they are as a person when making their dating decisions. You know, that's why you'll see women that will that will curve a guy because he's not 6'2", like a dude that's six foot can't be a good man or can't be a good husband. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. I say right, and you hit it right on the head. You know, when you say, and which is why I'm glad you explaining what over the definition, because a lot of people mistake preferences for standards, or mistake standards for preferences.
Yeah,
like,
well,
people get the two confused here.
Right, I mean, like the things that people make a standard are usually a lot of times irrelevant. Like things
Right.
that would matter to me, for example, for our woman, like a realistic standard. If a man has a child, I have to see that he's actively involved in his child's life and he provides for his child. Like that's a fair standard to have. It's not holding you to a certain standard. He has to buy his child a certain brand of sneakers. It's not something unrealistic like that,
right.
but it's something
based on-
tangible that you can see and you can
Exactly.
pick up on if you're dating somebody on a regular basis.
Right, exactly. It's based on something tangible and not something superficial like you just described there.
Yeah, it's something that should be of significance. Like, for example, another real standard. I gotta have somebody that either owns their own business or is gainfully employed. I can't be dating somebody that just chill every day, that is dependent on another person. Like, some people are perfectly cool with that. I'm not. I have to date an independent woman. Like, so when you have standards, they have to be something that is significant. You know what I mean? Like, a person's hairstyle can't be a standard. That's a preference. So you have to be able to tell the difference between the two. All right, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about was deal breakers. A deal breaker is an issue or condition that will cause you to discontinue dating someone or limit your relationship with them. Now, guys use deal breakers different than women. Women typically, if they encounter a deal breaker that they have for a man, they'll block the man, cut him off completely, etc. That's not typically how men do it. A woman can have a deal breaker for a man and still get the deal. He will still invest a small amount of time and effort into getting her attention and companionship, even if he's decided that she would never be his old lady or his girlfriend. And so a deal breaker from a male perspective is something that would prevent a woman from would prevent a man from wanting to get in a committed relationship with the woman, or will prevent a man from wanting to marry a woman. It don't mean that he won't smash you, he won't chill with you, he won't enjoy your companionship. And so I think that's the difference between how men and women treat deal breakers. A man, a woman finds out that something that you do or a part of your lifestyle was a deal breaker, like you bisexual. Most women would consider that a deal breaker. You know what I mean? Like, so, but a guy find out you bisexual, he don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, so there are certain things that men are just going to treat differently than women because they treat sex a lot more casually than women do. They don't put as much emphasis or desire on getting in committed relationships. So men can take she's cool enough to hang out with type of approach and give a minimal amount of effort into what they want out the situation. She could cook. There could be other things about her that make him enjoy her companionship or make him enjoy coming around her, so that even though he has that deal breaker where it disqualified her from being a girlfriend, she could still be cool to hang out with it and do other things with from a male perspective. So I just think that if you can get a clear understanding on what those three things are and how they relate to dating and making dating decisions, I think a lot of people can make dating decisions that are better suited for them long term.
Right.
Because there seems to be a lot of confusion when you actually apply these things, and based off the messages and the memes and all these quotes and stuff people send me, there's a lot of misinformation going on. And so you have these people that feed women these vague cliches and these vague quotes that they got to interpret and figure out themselves, where if they're confused to begin with, and then the person giving them advice gives them something vague or confusing that they have to figure out themselves, well, they're not doing a whole lot of learning under those circumstances. They're going to do a lot of the same behavior. They're going to make a lot of emotional decisions, and they're going to find themselves in the same positions they've always been in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's cool. That's say that people are actually going or living off of something they see in a meme that's vague and or cliche.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that make these memes or these quotes are clueless themselves. They're single. They're not in healthy relationships. They don't have a history of relationship success. They just know what they figured out what women want to hear. They figured out what type of content goes viral, gets you a lot of likes, gets you a lot of comments, and so that's exactly what they post. It's not really a lot of consideration into, is this really helpful? How does this really benefit?
Basically, just pandering to what women want to hear.
Man, it's sometimes it's hard to tell when someone's pandering or if it's something they really believe. Generally when it's men and when they're presenting, like Prince Donald, like when they're presenting themselves like I make the perfect decisions, like when they're presenting themselves like I'm the perfect man, I wouldn't let a woman touch me because I'm that loyal. Like, that's fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's pandering to me. You know what I mean? Like,
or even the Steve Harvey videos that we had several weeks ago, where he said, if he loves you, if he can't breathe, when he's away, he can't breathe without you.
Yeah, to me, man, that's stuff that you would think women would be able to identify and call out as it's coming out, but they're so anxious to believe in this fairy tale or this happy ending that they buy into stuff like that without questioning it, without any critical thinking, without comparing it to what they see in the real world. Because a lot of these things don't make any sense if you just take a step back and listen to what is actually being said. You'll see several examples that prove that it's not true. You'll see several situations that you've seen in real life with people and aunts and uncles relationships that prove that this fake ass cliche or this fake quote that you just read is not true. But women will treat it like it's true anyway. They'll actually come in my comments trying to convince me how I don't get it and how I just missed the point. And it's like, man, y'all can believe what y'all want to believe. But
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if you look at it from a logical perspective or just practical dating, you would see that stuff just doesn't make any sense. These people are just saying these things are being disingenuous.
Man, it's hard to try to help people when they can pick and choose what they treat.
Right. But,
they decide what's true or not.
At the end of the day, people are going to believe what they want to believe and hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why I kind of just take the approach that the women that want to get it will, and the women that just want to argue and all that they just prove the stuff that I say is true. They just show us what men have to deal with. They show us the closed-minded mentalities that a lot of women have. So that's the way I look.
I'm sure you have some that even go out their way to tag you with some of these things and say, "See, he said, X, Y, and Z."
Yeah, they have certain people that they know our perspectives are drastically different or polar opposites. So they'll go to their page trying to find stuff to prove me wrong, or they'll say stuff like, "Yeah, you need to tell Terry because he said this," and so I get it, but it is what it is, man. People are going to believe what they want to believe, and so that's perfectly cool. You know what I mean? But there's a reason that the people that actually listen to me see so much dating success. And there's a reason that these dating strategies and approaches to dating have worked for me and the men that operate like I do. So these are the type of men that women claim that they want to be with, men that are responsible, men that are viewed as husband and father material by the women that know them. So to me, that's the perspective that you should be trying to learn the most about, if that's who you want to end up with. But
I think the women, like you said, I think women who do get it and that do want the quality men, disagree though, like a better description is, will use dating strategies that you present to them, or get your dating guide and things of that sort. But the ones who don't, are just going to continue being in these messed up situations, dysfunctional relationships, failed relationships that are going nowhere fast here.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's hard to try to help women that will refuse the help, that try to discredit your perspective because they disagree with you. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to help anybody that don't want to learn. That's one of the first things that I learned as a teacher. You know what I mean? Like, so it is what it is, man. You gotta do what you can for the ones that want to get it, and the ones that don't, you gotta let them learn on their own or learn the hard way.
I think the quality of them that do better, that maybe learn from past situations or past mistakes. There's a lot of them that are in committed healthy relationships.
Yeah, I mean, man, a relationship can flourish for a while and then fail because of some unexpected event or some lapse in judgment. So even if you do have what it takes to have a healthy relationship, you're still not guaranteed to get a healthy relationship. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's not guaranteed to be a successful relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
there's never a guarantee.
Exactly. There are no guarantees that come to dating. So all you can do is try to put yourself in the best position and give yourself the best chances. You find somebody that you're actually compatible with, you increase your chances. You take an approach to dating that doesn't set your expectations too high, you have a chance for success. You know what I mean? Like, so doing things that give you a better chance of success and eliminating things that have been known to create problems, to me, that's as close as you're going to be able to get to getting guaranteed dating success. Don't do what I know creates problems. Take the approach that I know has worked for other people. That gives you a better chance of success the way my logic is set up. So hopefully we could reach some people with this episode and with this clarity that we talked about tonight on standards, preferences, and deal breakers. Jay, appreciate you taking the time out, man, so we could put another episode together. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Brother Soul Productions for the audio. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. This has been another episode of the More Than Love podcast. Thanks for tuning in.